curious if this thing's gonna start. It's been sitting for a couple weeks now. So, fingers crossed that the old girl doesn't give us too much trouble here. I put these new battery terminals on it, and it's a lot better. I bought these like expensive ones that like looked like they would work really well, and they sucked. So I just went and bought these parts store ones, and they get a lot tighter, a lot easier. Plus they sell these, it's like an entirely new positive cable assembly. So it goes like down to the starter, over to the starter solenoid, and all, it's like a completely brand new Motorcraft cable. So we bought another truck, and we now have 3 trucks. We got the 2 dualies, and then we got the regular cab short bed Chevy, which I don't know if you didn't see the video on that. We bought that as our temporary tow rig while we build this. So what is this? Why is this? So for a little quick backstory for you guys, I've been through a handful of the diesel trucks. So I first had a W250 first gen Dodge with a 12 valve VE pump Cummins in it. It was a good truck, it was a cool truck, but it just wasn't very good for long distance. It rode very poorly. It was not roomy at all inside, being a single cab, and a very small single cab at that. It wasn't, you know, comfortable. You couldn't really go past like 65 comfortably. It just was not a good truck for a long trip. So I sold that truck, and for basically the same money bought my Duramax. It was an LLY Duramax. That's the revised Duramax engine, 4-wheel drive extended cab. Really, really good truck. I bought it from these people who had garage kept it since 70,000 miles, and it was in great shape. And I put 30,000 miles on it, most of those towing. Truck never skipped a beat. It was an amazing truck. It was an amazing truck. You might be asking yourself, well, why would you get rid of it? Because obviously I don't have that anymore. So then this deal popped up. A buddy of mine was selling his 3rd gen Dodge 06 Mega Cab and a 36-foot enclosed gooseneck trailer for very cheap. Very, very, very cheap. And I just couldn't pass the deal up. I wasn't really even looking to get into an enclosed, but I thought about it. It was a good opportunity to try it out, see if I liked it. So I bought that setup, and after driving the Dodge, you know, with it tuned and stuff, I realized that it was gonna tow that trailer significantly better than my Duramax was, unless I did a lot of mods to my Duramax, and I didn't really want to go down that path. So I traded the Duramax for this Nissan Zafiro. So this is like a right-hand drive JDM car. I'd always wanted one. A buddy of mine had it. He needed a truck. I love trading. We swapped. So now I have that. That's what I got for the Duramax. Kept the Dodge. The Dodge was a piece of junk. It was super rusty, which I already knew, and just a lot of problems. Like, stuff kept breaking constantly. It was like every time I fixed something, something else would break. I changed the AC system, and then it was the body control module that was bad, which is like $1,000, and you can't even buy them anymore. So I bypassed that with like pinning from the ECU, and it was just a mess. It was a mess, and I got real tired of it. And because it was rusty and stuff, it was just like I was not willing to keep putting money into it because it was never going to gain any value because it was just a rusty truck. So I offloaded that thing, and then I bought this truck. So this is a 1999 F350, so it's got the 7.3 Power Stroke in it. This one's pretty cool. It's got 24-inch semi wheels. It's got a later 6.0 front end, like grill, headlights, bumper. It's got a cowl hood, the 08 to whatever tow mirrors. So I bought this truck because the 7.3s are pretty simple, they're reliable, they're bulletproof, they work forever. So that's why I bought this truck. So this truck, though, despite the 7.3's reliable record, has not been without its issues. So when we got the truck, it had massive boost leaks. I mean, it was only making like 8 to 10 pounds of boost, full throttle under load. Turns out the plenum gaskets were leaking, which they're down there buried, so you gotta take all this off. The turbo off, all this intercooler piping, the fuel bowl, all that stuff. So we took all that off, stripped it down, resealed the plenums. That solved the majority of our problem. No more boost leak. Then we took it on our first drive with our big trailer, which is back there. You can kind of see it around the side of the house. And the oil temps were crazy high. They were getting up to like 260. They should be like 220, 230 max towing, and they were 260 and climbing. So we went and we put a bunch of Mishimoto cooling stuff in it. We replaced factory block mounted oil cooler, did all this stuff. that solved that issue. Now we still have a few issues that need to be resolved to tow that trailer any bit of, you know, real distance. So, you know, we got leaking up pipes, the suspension needs to be gone through front to back. There's an issue with the windshield sealing and that getting into the body control module, and there's just a bunch of little stuff that needs to be fixed on this truck. And as I was kind of going down the list of things that need to get done and thinking about that, I was like, man, you know, I really would like for the truck to have a little bit more power to tow the trailer more comfortably, because you know, it struggles a little bit with that trailer to maintain speed on the highway, and especially in the hills. You got to really plan out your speed to get up the hills without losing more than 10-15 miles an hour. And so I was thinking about doing upgraded turbos and injectors, and the more I thought about it, you know, at the end of the day, it's still an older truck. So that brings us to this truck. So let's get it pulled around to the shop. We've got some work to do to it. We need to clean it up, and I'll explain to you guys, you know, exactly what this is and exactly what we're doing with it. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the wrong truck. I'm not pulling this truck with this truck. So these trucks, you have to have power to put it in neutral. There we go. Park, revert, reverse, neutral. It should be neutral. All right, I think we're good. Okay, now that we got this thing moved back here, let me give you guys a quick little tour. So I haven't really looked at this thing at all. The guy came and dropped it off the night before I left for Good Life. So like, he got here late at night, we unloaded it, which was a pretty crazy, difficult thing to drag. We had to like drag it off the trailer, and the trailer is parked downhill. But we got it off. Ben's 4.8 truck pulled it off, no problem. Freaking ripper. But yeah, so we got it off that night, and then I left the next morning to go to Grid Life. So I haven't really had a chance to look at it. I did notice there's a bunch of trash in the back, so that's sweet. That's an additional bonus that we get. Came with the truck free of charge. So this thing is freaking loaded. So it's got the individual like captain's chair seats with the center console. This is what I really wanted. I really wanted this as opposed to the flip down bench. You get a lot more room in the console. It's, in my opinion, more comfortable. If you like, that truck has a flip down bench, and like I rarely have more than 2 people in my truck, so I really don't need a 6th seat. You know, that's the way I see it. So I'm really glad. It's kind of hard to find this setup. A lot of these trucks came with the flip down bench, and I really wanted the separate center console. This thing though has all the options. I mean, we got a freaking sunroof. It's got, here, let's roll the windows down so you can see in here. It's got a sliding rear window. Oh, that works. Hell yeah, look at that. Sliding rear window, let's see if the sunroof works. Oh, buddy. Dang, I'm so glad that I didn't check this thing out before, because you guys are gonna see my genuine excitement. That's so dope. It freaking works. I'm so used to things not working. Let's check the windows. We got our radios working. All the windows work, sunroof works. Hell yeah. Now we get some breeze in here. Mirrors work. See if the seat works. This thing's kind of falling apart. Gotta fix that. Oh yeah. Seat works. Might not have quite enough juice. It's got, I had this radio in my Vet. This is a really nice radio. It has CarPlay and stuff. So that's dope, yeah. Oh, rear camera? Does it have a rear camera? Ah, man, that was about to be real exciting if we had a rear camera in this thing. Got a cigarette lighter in here. Got cup holders here. Oh, we got more cup holders here, dude. Cup holder city. This thing, whatever this is really annoying. Let's see. Does the AC blower work? Oh, yeah. All that works. All the vents work. We got dual climate control. We got freaking trailer brake controller built in. That's dope. We got all these auxiliary switches too. So like I can wire things into these switches. Like I can wire a winch in, or, you know, an exterior light or whatever. So that's really cool. That's like what's really cool to me about these newer trucks is they come with so many features. Let's see, we got electronic pedals. Look at that. Do you see that? Ha! Oh, it's so cool. Dude, this thing is freaking pimp as heck, man. This thing is so baller. It's got so much cool stuff. I feel like there's so much room in the back seat area because of this center console. Like, it looks so roomy back there. See, I wonder, oh, it's got a full tank of fuel, dude. We're ready to go. Got to put a motor in it and ride out. So what else can I tell you guys about this thing? It's 4-wheel drive. I was debating on that, whether I wanted a 4-wheel drive one, but one, it's really hard for me to find a dually one of these trucks blown up for cheap, or just period, really. And then it was even harder to try to find a dually 2-wheel drive that actually had some nice options. Most of the 2-wheel drive dualies, you know, they all seem to be like base model work trucks. So it seemed like kind of 4-wheel drive was really my only option. And the more I thought about it, like I do plan to eventually bag this truck for comfort and being able to raise and lower it and do what I need to do, and it'll ride better and stuff. But you know, I don't really care. I'm not trying to freaking lay frame with the thing. Like its main goal is to be a functional tow rig. The bags would really just be to be able to raise it up when towing the trailer, or lower it down when parked or cruising. But you know, like I don't really care if it doesn't go like slam to the ground. So, you know, at the end of the day, the 4-wheel drive is going to be a lot more handy to me than being able to lower the truck, you know, an extra few inches, if any. It does look like the front axle is really where we're going to run into issues with lowering it. So yeah, I'm super stoked everything works. Like I had no idea if any of that stuff worked, and everything I checked works. You know, we've got the complete engine in it, which will be really handy for when we're swapping it. So for those of you who don't know, these trucks have the 6.4 Power Stroke in it, and these engines were notoriously unreliable. They had head gasket issues, EGR cooling issues, you know, just all sorts of stuff. A lot of the stuff that plagued the previous 6.0, but like it seems even worse. And you'll see people, you know, blow the engine up at pretty low mileage. They'll swap the engine, and then that one will go, you know, 30,000 miles later or whatever. And then so you end up finding these things for pretty cheap with a blown motor because people just don't want to deal with them anymore. So this one had a rod go through the block, but everything else is in good working order, and I picked this truck up for $6,000, and it's fully loaded, you know, sunroof, sliding rear window, power seats, like everything. This truck has like every option that I know of came on these trucks at the time. It's 4-wheel drive, it's a dually, and if you're looking for a single rear wheel truck, you could find a better conditioned truck with the same options for even less money. But I mean, for $6,000, it's a 10-year-old diesel truck. Now, if you shopped around for diesel trucks at all, you know that's crazy cheap. Obviously, the one major pitfall though is you've got a blown motor. So how do you deal with that? Like I just said, you know, people swap them and they still have issues. So don't want to go down that route. So you can engine swap it. So a lot of you might be thinking, oh, he's going to put a 12-valve Cummins in this. And I had thought about that originally back before I bought the 7.3, but the major pitfalls of this truck are, you know, it's an older truck. It's, you know, the difference between this truck, which was made in 99, and this truck, which was made in 2009, is like light years of difference. I mean, light years of difference. Back when this truck was made, trucks were super simple. They were super basic. They had very little sound deadening. The engines were super loud. The interiors were super basic. I mean, you just saw the interior of that truck. You know, and then you look at this interior, very, very plain dash. We got the jump seat, you know, I mean, just super, super basic. They're super basic inside. The suspension was really rough. You know, they didn't ride very well. They were meant to do a job. They were meant to be trucks and get the job done. And then you come around to like this generation, and trucks became more of like a luxury thing. You know, people still wanted to get the job done, but they wanted to do it in comfort. You know, they didn't want to deal with a loud, noisy, uncomfortable truck. So in my opinion, the difference between like a 99 truck and an 09 truck is a much greater difference than like an 09 to a 2019. I feel like going from this year range of truck to a brand new truck, you don't get a whole lot more in the way of like creature comforts and niceness and stuff. But going from this truck to this truck, it's huge. So that is why I wanted to do this build, but I figured you know, if I'm gonna have a modern truck, I might as well have a modern engine. So instead of doing a 12 valve Cummins swap, we were still doing a Cummins swap, but we were going to do a common rail engine. So the common rail engines came in the 3rd gen Dodges. So those started in like 03, they had the 5.9 till 06, and then I think 07 or 08, they came out with the 6.7 liter. So that's what we're shooting for. We're gonna try to buy a 6.7 liter common rail engine, but the common rail, the way I see it is basically the 12 valve is like the small box Chevy of the diesel world, right? They're very simple, you know, small box Chevy is carbureted, there's no wiring to deal with, you know, they're very, very basic, and they're really easy to swap, and there's a ton of knowledge on them. Whereas the common rail is like the LS, but it's almost like the diesel world is 10 years behind on figuring that out. You know, because everyone was kind of afraid of the LSs at first because there's wiring and there's an ECU and, you know, whatever. A carburetor is so much easier. And then, you know, nowadays it's like they're so prevalent because, you know, plenty of people make swap harnesses, people know how to tune the ECUs. Like there's so much info available, you know, and they're a much more capable engine, you know, pound per horsepower and cost per horsepower. Like they're just a much more modern engine. So it's kind of the same thing in my opinion with the common rail Cummins. It's like basically the LS of the diesel world versus the 12 valve, which is the small box Chevy. So what we're gonna end up with is like the perfect hodgepodge of parts. Like if this truck rolled off the assembly line in 09, it would be like the perfect truck. So we're taking the Cummins engine, which is super reliable, very efficient, really, really easy and simple to work on, but you know, it's in a chassis that's not very good. The chassis falls apart around the engine, the transmissions don't hold up, the you know, trucks themselves aren't very nice and comfortable, but they have like a freaking great engine. And then you take the Ford, and the Ford is a really, really nice chassis. They're very modern, they're very luxurious, they're comfortable, they have a really good stout transmission, but the engines were garbage. So you take the good engine and put it in the good chassis with the good transmission and the niceness and the comfortable, and you've got like what would have been like a perfect truck if it rolled off the assembly line like that in 08 or 09. So what we should end up with is a truck that should make, you know, probably 1,000 foot-pounds of torque with a safe tow tune, because we're going to be upgrading the turbo on the 6.7, and should be very, very simple and easy to work on and very reliable, but very comfortable and very modern, but also while being super affordable to build. You know, we've got $6 grand into this truck. My plan is to buy a parts truck for the Cummins. It looks like $4 to $5 grand. I should be able to buy a truck with the engine I want, part it out, you know, hopefully I can get the engine and everything I need for $2 to $3 grand. The swap kit's about $5 grand. We're going with Diesel Conversion Specialist. So they have a ton of information on their website. If you guys are interested in doing a swap like this, check out their website. They have like tons of blog articles. They have pretty much like all the information you can need. Super, super helpful guys. I originally contacted them about, you know, if they made Cummins swap stuff for this truck, and then the more we talked about it and the more I looked at it, it made way more sense to buy one of these trucks and swap it instead, because I'm getting, you know, a newer chassis and I can get more money for this as a running truck than I spent on this. So yeah, that is the plan with this truck. I am so excited. I am so freaking excited, because I mean, this should be like the perfect truck. This is my dream tow rig build. It is going to be everything I want in one truck. I've tried so many different trucks. I've searched around trying to find kind of like the perfect truck for the under $20,000 budget. You know, they all have their major pitfalls, whereas this kind of covers everything in one shot. We just got to put it together ourselves. So super stoked, super stoked. So we are going to be getting rid of the old 7.3. She was a good truck to us, you know, had our issues, but I'm sure this truck will make someone a great truck, so I don't feel as bad getting rid of it, but I definitely want to keep my wheels. So we're going to be swapping these wheels over, and yeah, that way we can take pictures of this thing, get it posted for sale, free up some funds to buy our parts truck and the rest of the stuff we need to get this build going. So let's get this thing jacked up and pull these wheels off. Alright, so we're just going to do one corner at a time because we'll need 2 jacks. So with the fronts here, we might be able to take the adapter and wheel off all as one unit. We can get this screwdriver under here. There we go. No, we're not going to be able to do that. Nuts are way too close to the wheel itself, so we'll have to take the wheel off, then take the adapter off. It's going to be a bit time consuming. Let's get to it. All right, that wasn't too bad. Looks strange to see this truck on normal wheels. They don't look terrible, but definitely a totally different look. All right, let's get the 24 on this truck, see how that looks. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing is these studs are really long. Therefore, I'm going to need to cut them down to get the center cap on. So I think I'm just gonna put them on as they are, and then I'll deal with that part later, just to get them all swapped over and get that handled for now. And then we'll just have to deal with getting the center caps on at another time, because I wanna make sure that they all fit all the way around before I go cutting the studs.
Close.
Dude, hell yeah. Chrome matching the chrome. All right, got one done on the front. I want to do the rear on this side as well. Make sure everything fits everywhere before we, finalize it and put them all on. So let's get the rears on. All right, rear is off. Gotta get these off. Well, this is why I didn't want to try to loop my way around. These are not going to fit. It's a different lug pattern. Let's try the spacer. It's weird to me that it'd be a different pattern from front to rear. Doesn't really make sense. Yep. Oh, that's a bummer. So that doesn't work. Dang it. It looks sick too. It's just weird that the fronts work. This doesn't really make any sense. Because the front work and the rear doesn't. I mean, I can get different adapters, but I'll have to figure out wheels for this truck. All right, well, it is definitely a bummer that the 24s did not fit on here. I figured out though why the fronts fit and the rears didn't fit. It makes sense. So this is 8x200. This is 8x170. I remember when I got the truck, the guy said that they had to swap to 05 front stuff to get the adapters to work. And that's when the change was from the 8x170 lug pattern to the 8x200. So the front is 8x200, the rear is still 8x170. That's where our problem lies. So either way, we'll just have to sell this truck with these wheels on it. I have a few people interested. I have it listed with the wheels right now, and I have a few people seriously interested in buying it for what I would like to sell it for. I just figured it'd be a lot easier to sell it for significantly less without the wheels, because people won't be as picky if it's, $3,000 or $4,000 less. Cause it's gonna cost like $3,500 to replace these wheels. And it's just like, if I'm if I'm swapping them over to that truck and then just taking the loss on how much I could sell the truck for, it's easier to stomach than like actually buying them again. Like I feel it's gonna be hard for me to spend that kind of money on wheels for a truck, but they really, I mean, they really make the look of the truck, and they look super sweet on the new truck. And you know, I feel like I've got to do them because I really, really like them. It's just, you know, one of those things. Hopefully we can find some bigger tires. The only ones I found were like some off-road ones, and they were like $300 each. These were like $130 each. So hopefully we can find a better option than that. But anyway, that's okay. So we'll get that truck sold as it is with the wheels on it and turn our attention to this guy. So I want to get it cleaned out. It is just filthy. There's a bunch of stuff in here. I need to put on like a hazmat suit and just start going through this and filling up trash bags to take this stuff to the dump. Oh, it's so humid in here. All right, we need to roll the windows down, let this thing air out. All right, let's get this filthy thing cleaned out. And there's all sorts of random stuff in here. We got some electrical tape, Scotch tape, phone mount. I don't know what this thing is. Oh, it came right off. Let's see what mysteries we got in here. Nothing too interesting. Oh man, we got a lighter, baby blue lighter. Any takers? Baby blue lighter? Anybody? Does it work? I'll keep that for heat shrink. There's a pill of some sort down here. What do you guys think that is? Can you see that? Some sort of like homemade capsule or something in it. It's always interesting what you find in used vehicles, especially like this, because this truck, I guess the guy was driving it to Georgia and the motor blew up, and then the dude I bought it from towed it back and bought it from him to swap another motor in it, and they never got around to it. So he, you know, it's just kind of like as it was, the dude was driving to Georgia. I'm gonna take, I mean, this thing would be kind of nice. It's like some sort of a tablet mount, but I don't really see myself ever using that, you know? Like what, I'm not gonna have a tablet here freaking typing away. All right, well, I'm gonna take that out. Something super baller that I just noticed. AC temp. So temp button, change the temp, and then fan button. That is so dope for freaking steering wheel AC controls. Oh, it's so cool. All right, there's a bunch of random stuff in this truck. Oh, there's nothing in the glove box besides the owner's manual setup. Huh, that's disappointing. Found like random stuff in the door pockets. This is like some sort of, it looks like payroll. Definitely a work truck of some sort, like probably the owner of the business work truck. There's just some random stuff in here, like PVC pipe and receipts for Home Depot, lots of them. Okay, we got most of the crap cleaned out of the inside. I need to clean out the crap from the back now. That tailgate step's actually useful on this truck with how tall it is. It's crazy how tall these trucks are stock nowadays. Does anyone want a life vest floaty? Ben, I got you something for Christmas.
Dope, dude.
Here you go, bud. They hit you in the face. You might have a disease now. Keep this in your room.
I might keep that. I could hit Justin with it.
Here you go.
Motivated.
Justin, you want a baseball bat?
Hell yeah.
Ageless Nail Max.
That's what I was talking about, dude.
Oh.
I wanted it.
There's fruit snacks in here.
Damn, what flavor?
Oh, only the ones that you use. What a coincidence. All right, got the bed cleaned out. I'm gonna pressure wash it out too, but I wanna pressure wash the whole truck. I wanna try to put these on. These are like the rear center cap things. They were just sitting in the bed. There we go. Easy enough. Maybe I'll want to put this thing back in at some point, but for now, I think this thing is kind of silly. I'm sure Ben would want it. All right. These like hand cleaning towels work really good for cleaning off the gunk on interior stuff. Like especially all this newer plastic that's on these trucks. Yeah, these are always the parts of trucks that get super nasty. Like in here where people grab with their hands, and like it's stuff if you own the truck and it was clean when you got it, you wouldn't notice. But when it's a new truck and you don't know whose hands have been where, and you just see like black grease embedded in the texture, you're like, ugh. Well, grease doesn't bother me. It's like the food looking stuff like down there that I think is kind of gross. But anyway, I'm just gonna keep wiping all this down, wiping all the dust off up here. Try to get this thing a little cleaner. All right, got the interior of this thing mostly cleaned up. I ran out of wipes when I got to that side, but you know, wiped down the door panels. There was like some stuff like dripping down this one that was kind of gross. So clean that up, clean the seats up, vacuumed it out, got rid of all the junk that was in here. Now we have a decently clean truck. I didn't want to go too crazy because, I mean, we're going to be working on it and getting in and out with greasy hands and getting it dirty anyway. It was pretty grotesque in here. Some just nastiness and then a bunch of trash. So we at least got that taken care of. And yeah, the more time I spend in here, the more I am happy about my decision to move to one of these trucks because, I mean, it's just so nice. Like we got cup holders for days. We got the built-in brake controller. We got aux switches on the ready. We got like 17 freaking cigarette lighters. We got one in here. We got more cup holders back here, another cigarette lighter. So like 4 people could comfortably ride in this truck on a trip and all have everything they need. We got freaking steering wheel AC controls. Like this thing is freaking baller. I am stoked. Got the sunroof open, chilling, back window open, chilling. I am very, very excited about this project. Oh, what is this like one of those mirrors that, why does it have so many wires going to it? Does it say stuff on it? Let's see. I don't know, did that mirror just not do anything, but it's got like 17 wires going to it? Doesn't make sense. Is that a camera? Is that a sensor? What is it? I don't understand. Okay, anyway, we're done with the interior for now. Next step, cleaning the outside. All right, got the bed cleaned out. That's always super tricky. There's still a little bit in there, but it's so hard to get the stuff up at the front because you gotta kind of like, it just splashes all around here and wants to come back. So you gotta like sweep it with the pressure washer to the back. But we got that cleaned up, and then we got the mats cleaned off. So we're gonna let those sit in the sun and dry. And yeah, just pressure wash the outside of the truck because it is dirty, especially now that we just pressure washed mud and gunk all over it. I got the truck a little cleaned up. I didn't go crazy and like wash it. I just wanted to dust off, you know, some of the nastiness that was on there and clean it up a little bit. It's gonna sit outside. Once we get the swap done, definitely gonna need to get like a real detail on this thing, some paint correction. I think the paint will come back to life, but you know, it's got weird spots like this. So definitely need some help. The interior is looking nice and good. Spiffy, put the floor mats back in. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing back around front and we will be on the hunt for a parts truck. So, I mean, that's really the next thing we need. We need to get the parts truck and the swap kit, and then it's just doing the work. So we might pull the motor out of this in the meantime, but I'm hoping to buy a parts truck within like a week or so. I really want to get this done quickly so I can get back to towing my enclosed trailer, and because I'm super hyped on this thing, I think it's gonna be sweet. So anyway, I guess that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of the new project. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.